Okay, hello you beautiful people, welcome back. In this update, we are going to check out Zebec's chart, and in the short term, spoiler alert, I am now seeing some very optimistic signs that potentially tip the scales towards the bullish count, but indicating, you know what, maybe the bottom is already in. But before we get into all that, at first, we are going to talk about this very important tweet from Zebec's account. And in case you missed it, there was actually an interesting conversation, and I would actually highly suggest, if you got time, give it a watch yourself. But if you don't want to, that's absolutely fine. Just know this conversation actually happened at Sibos conference in Frankfurt between Simon, the CEO of Zebec, and Alex Hopner, the CEO of AllUnity, which, in case that you haven't watched my previous videos, AllUnity, you should know that it's a joint venture backed by DWS, Flow Traders, and also Galaxy. And in my view, this was kind of a strategic talk about where the global payments industry is heading right now, and much more important than that, how stablecoins are going to fit into the future. So in this interview, both of these guys actually made one thing very clear, and it's this: stablecoins are absolutely coming, but the biggest problem right now, and the hottest one, is going to be fragmentation. You see, every single bank wants to issue its own token, which may sound a bit nice at the beginning. However, for global companies and offices all over the world, this is going to create massive amounts of chaos, and they just simply want one smooth way to pay people, not juggle a dozen different coins. And that, my friends, is where AllUnity comes in clutch. You see, they are building a neutral EU-regulated euro stablecoin, which is something any bank or corporation can use without worrying about compatibility issues. And here is where Zebec actually fits perfectly into the whole story. You see, it's very important to note that Zebec already runs quite a strong payroll and payments business in United States, which is awesome. And it is absolutely helping companies pay employees directly using crypto and stablecoins. And now those same clients are literally asking for support also in Europe. So this partnership overall, in my view, makes total sense. Zebec needs a reliable regulated euro stablecoin to expand overseas, and AllUnity, on the other hand, needs real-world applications to drive adoption of its stablecoin. Together, they will fill each other gaps, meaning Zebec is going to provide the rails, AllUnity is going to provide the traffic. Now, from a business standpoint, this is actually textbook smart growth, because Zebec isn't actually guessing what customers want. No, the demand is already there for them, and their US success, in my view, definitely gives them quite a bit of credibility as they move into Europe. Why? Because the US market is just much bigger than Europe. So if you are able to work perfectly in US, okay, why shouldn't you be able to work beautifully also in Europe, since it's quite a smaller market? And I think they are actually preparing for it the right way, since they are going to use MiCA compliance, which will be the key for institutions. So if we are going to break it down, Zebec's growth plan is crystal clear. Step number one: build and also scale payroll in the United States. And by the way, this step is already done. Step number two: expand into the US-EU corridor through a euro stablecoin partner. And this step right now is in progress. And step number three: use that entry point to roll out more services, like for example, remittances, and maybe even corporate cards. So as you can see, I think we can all agree that the potential in here is absolutely massive. But let's be real for a second, because I think this all comes down to execution, and this partnership with AllUnity sounds fantastic on paper. I think we can all agree on that. But for big corporations, the tech actually has to be flawless. You see, if payrolls or payments fail even once, that trust is just simply going to be gone, and the integration between Zebec and AllUnity has to be, again, this is the keyboard, has to be quite smooth, fast, and also invisible to the end user. Just simply, it should be able to work perfectly from day one. And then comes the enterprise challenges, because selling to big institutions isn't like selling to retail users. It's going to be a slow, absolutely political, and also it is all about trust. So Zebec has to prove their platform can connect directly into the existing treasury management systems that companies already are using at the moment, and it should be able to do so without messing up long-standing banking workflows. And that, my friends, is where Alex's point really matters. They have to make banks and corporates feel comfortable, not necessarily threatened. Also, another key part in my view is building a defensible moat. You see, in my view, once AllUnity's stablecoin is going to be live, other payment companies could potentially try to do the same thing, and Zebec's edge will come from speed and product depth. And if they can expand fast, and by that I mean really fast, from payroll to cards, maybe to remittances, maybe to full treasury automation in a heartbeat, they are going to at that point become too useful for clients to leave, and that way they are going to not only attract more and more adoption, they are also going to convince the clients that they had before to stay with them as well. And that leads to the biggest opportunity in here, which is becoming the orchestrator. You see, if Zebec is able to tie everything together, and we are talking about, for instance, US dollar payments, euro payments through AllUnity, and also other stable coins later on, they could become the one unified dashboard global companies use to manage all programmable payments in any currency, in any place. And that, trust me, I know, is a huge claim. But if they manage to pull it off, let's say not completely, let's just say if they manage to attract even a fraction of the adoption, well, okay, I think that way you are going to see huge price appreciation. So question, what does the future really look fundamental wise for Zebec if they keep executing this plan perfectly? Number one, over the next 1 or 2 years, Zebec is actually set to become a key bridge for corporate payments between the United States and Europe, and with AllUnity's regulated euro stablecoin powering the backend, Zebec can onboard their existing US clients who are already asking for European payment solutions, like we talked about it at the beginning of the video. And that's actually how they go from being seen as just a crypto startup to hopefully being recognized as a serious fintech provider for global businesses. And we really could use some of those recognitions right now, because I think even given the current price, we are somewhere between rank 140 to 150. So not a lot of people are actually paying much attention to Zebec. And you might say, well, okay, this is actually opportunity for us to invest more and more, and you might be right. But you know, I don't mind really Zebec cracking the top 10, because that's where we're gonna have more and more recognition by people and companies. And trust me, a lot of companies do care about how big your token, in other words, how big your market cap actually is. I know it sounds a bit stupid, but unfortunately it is what it is. Point number two, let's fast forward to 3 to 5 years later, and Zebec could be much more than just payroll. At that stage, we might be talking about a full treasury management platform, helping companies automate everything from payroll to supplier payments, B2B transfers, and even issuing corporate cards worldwide. Now, if you want to look a bit further ahead, well, okay, in that case, you can have many assumptions. For instance, if Zebec is going to continue executing at this level, well, okay, it could evolve into a piece of infrastructure for the global tokenized economy. And for example, imagine a world where major corporations rely on ZBCN to move money much faster, definitely cheaper, and with complete transparency. In that case, you are going to be in competition with some serious players in the space. And again, when I say these things, I fully understand, given just how small Zebec right now is. This may sound a bit insane, but I'm trying to show you that the potential is indeed quite huge. And if they play their cards right, I think they are actually going to be very much successful in the stablecoin and also payroll environment, since they are a United States based project. Okay, that's actually the key part. A US based project, I'm sorry to say this, but it simply has like much more chance of hitting success as opposed to other projects based on other continents and other countries. That's just the fact. Let's not even argue that. So in conclusion and in short, I think the future is actually very much bright for Zebec, and I do think by the end of this cycle, we are going to see at least 1 or 2 more phases of bull run, which will lead to what? Yep, you know what? Big price appreciation for the token. Now, having said all that, let's go on the live chart and see what is going on in the short term and what are the optimistic signs that I talked to you about at the beginning of the video. Okay, here we are. And if we remember the last time that we talked about Zebec, we were right around this area. And the idea was that there is a good chance we're going to get a move up. But whether that is going to be a bullish sign or not, it can be still up for the base. And if you want to go according to this chart, which is from TradingView, and in it, the lowest low is actually this one down here, then okay, you have to be a bit more patient and see maybe another move on the downside in order to take the lowest low, but that's not necessarily actually going to be a bad sign. In fact, it's just going to be part of the bullish process. Why? Because in my view, in Zebec, we are looking extremely bullish, and from the lowest low, as you can see, I'm able to find a complete 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with all the sub waves, and I'm gonna say this is into a wave 1 followed by a correction for wave 2. And what do you think is next? I think you know it if you are a regular viewer of the channel. Big move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5, and fundamentals certainly do align with this structure, and I do think by the end of this cycle, Zebec is going to have yet another beautiful phase of its bull run. So overall, we are looking bullish, but whether the bottom is in or not, that can be a little bit up for the base. And if you want to be pessimistic, you need to go according to this chart from TradingView. And here is the situation. Even now, if you want to go according to this thing, you really cannot ignore the fact that we actually got a break out of this ascending channel. Now, in case that you watched the previous videos, you know why I do care so much about this channel. Because you see, if you want to say that we're going to have our final low on this region, then okay, you have to be able to find, as we also said it earlier in the video, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up. And for the sub waves, we're going to have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave into wave 1, 3, and 5. And excuse me, let's just draw the waves, and maybe it's best to change the colors. Okay, for wave 2 and 4, we can have different scenarios. Let's say ABC into wave 2 and like a WXY into wave 2. Now, pay attention. Sometimes you are going to have a decent one and maybe a drawn out correction structure into wave 2. And by the way, again, this 1 and 2 is going to be on a lower degree relative to this one. And if you draw a channel, you're actually going to have a beautiful one, something like this. And this actually suggests that we are having a bit of extension, meaning the next move is going to be a big one up into wave 3 and 4 and 5. And that scenario is going to get confirmed once we get a break out of this ascending channel right in here. And in Zebec, even if you want to go according to this chart from TradingView, I think we should actually consider the extension possibility, suggesting, let's just do this and delete the waves. Maybe we are having from this point 5 up into 1 correction for wave 2, and this is now on its way to complete a beautiful move into wave 3 and 4 and 5. And again, once more, I'm gonna say it, in terms of Elliott waves, wave 3 is known to be quite a strong and sharp move on the upside. So I'm trying to tell you this. I think in Zebec, most likely we have hit our final lows down here. But even if you want to be pessimistic, then okay, maybe this is going to be like ABC up, ABC down, and like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up, and followed by that we're gonna have a move down in order to take all the lows. And two very important points in here. Number one, odds are we're not going to go a whole lot lower than these points, and any kind of dip in ZBCN is going to be a beautiful buying opportunity. And trust me, if we end up getting something like this, I am going to take advantage of the opportunity big time and add some more ZBCN to my portfolio. Point number two, in case you want to say this is happening, then okay, fair enough. What you want to see is from the current point, and I'm going to say for that matter, potentially a bit higher, is a strong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave on the downside, without a lot of overlapping of the waves. If we get something like this, okay, that could maybe like very short term tip the scales towards the bearish count a little bit. On the other hand though, if you want to be bullish like me, and also like me, you want to say, you know what, maybe we have hit our final low in Zebec, you need to see two things in here. Number one, a continuation of this phase up. Number two, after this is over, you want to see a consolidation into our wave 4 right in here, followed by another move up. In other words, you do want to see still a pullback, but the pullback, number one, has to be quite shallow, and number two, it has to be quite slow and choppy. If you see this, okay, at that point, count on this thing to be a 5 wave, meaning what? Yep, we have hit our final low, and probably in this cycle, we are not really going to see these prices anymore. I don't know, maybe in the next bear market, we are going to get a big move down in order to reach to about here, but most likely not in this cycle. Now, here's a question. What if you want to go according to some other charts, which indicate that this point right in here is the lowest low? For instance, I think in the previous video, we were on Buybit's one, right? Yep, there we go. So as you can see, according to Buybit's charts, this thing is actually the lowest low, and we specifically said that our move up in Zebec has to continue, since in here, the most likely possibility seems to be a series of 1-2s. And if this is the case, well, okay, odds are in the next phases on the upside, we're going to be on our way to complete a series of wave 3s, which will lead to, again, an acceleration of our move up. And now we are having that. And I am going to say that probably this point is actually the end of our wave 5 right in here, which is going to be on a higher degree into this wave 3, correction for 4, another move up into wave 5, and even that one is going to be into wave 3, correction for 4, and yet another move on the upside into wave 5. So as you can see, according to the bullish count in Zebec, this move up most likely is going to continue. And here is the situation. Maybe it's best to go on 30-minute time frame. So I do think that we can have something like this, maybe a pullback, but then probably another move up. And if you want to make sure that we're going to get this thing, well, okay, I think you should pay full attention to what is going on in 30 or maybe even H1 time frame in MACD, because as you can see, we are having in here a high, the other one is a lower high, but on the live chart, we are having a high, the other one is a higher high. So what do we have in here? Basically a beautiful looking bearish divergence, since between these two highs, we almost reached to about the neutral level. So this divergence does actually have a good bit of validity. Now, wait a minute. I just said we are having a bearish divergence, which is a negative sign. Yep, you're absolutely right. But here's the situation. If we're going to have another move up in ZBCN, in order to confirm that scenario, you need to be a bit patient and see a move on the upside in MACD in order to get a break of this divergence line. And at that point, number one, the divergence itself is going to get invalidated, and we cannot really say anymore that because of this thing, we're going to get a move down. And number two, in most cases, as a result of a break of the divergence line, we're actually going to see some strong and sharp moves on the upside, which aligns with this count right in here. So again, if you want to look for one very important signal suggesting whether we're going to continue our move up or not, then okay, all eyes should be on this bearish divergence line. Get a break of it, our move up is going to continue big time. On the other hand, as long as we are hanging around these areas, maybe we should consolidate a bit more. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in ZBCN's chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.